Okay, so today we'll continue with our discussion on phase control rectifier only. We were discussing about full wave bridge rectifier, means midpoint converters or rectifiers. Today's discussion will be another full wave converter or control rectifier, which is bridge converter. And we'll try to make a comparison between bridge converter and midpoint converter and see other configurations of a bridge converter. Now, this is a bridge converter circuit which you already know. You have studied using 4 diodes. The same thing, instead of diode, what we are doing, because we are using a control rectifier, we are replacing those diodes by thyristors or SCRs. So instead of 4 diodes, we are using 4 SCRs, SCR1 to SCR4. And how will this circuit operate? We'll just look into it. Same operation, since it is a full wave control rectifier, the output of the midpoint and the full control rectifier are same. So there is a similarity of this output as shown in the previous last day's lecture. But the operation is little bit different. Previously what we had only one single thyristor to conduct per half cycle of the sine wave. So for the positive half cycle, only one thyristor would have conducted. For the negative half cycle, the other thyristor would have conducted. But in this case, we will have conduction of 2 thyristors per half cycle. So in the first half cycle, 2 thyristors, second half cycle, 2 thyristors. So total 2 plus 2, 4. So that's why there are 4 thyristors over here. Now during the first cycle, when my supply voltage is positive, so I can think this terminal as positive, this terminal as negative. If this is positive, this point is common between 1 and 2 SCR. So positive connected to positive, which will be on SCR1. This will be off. So I am just crossing it. Next, negative connected to this point. So SCR3 anode connected to this negative, so it will be off. Minus connected to minus or the cathode of your SCR4, so it will be on. So current starts flowing from this AC supply through SCR1 through this RL load, goes back through this SCR4 back to the negative terminal of your source. So source SCR1, load SCR4 back to the negative terminal. So during the first period of your first half cycle, which is present over here, we are having conduction of which 2 thyristors, T1 and T4, SCR1 and SCR4. I have written over here T1 and T4. So this is basically, you can write it like this. This is basically VAB. Okay, if you consider this point as A and this point as B, so this is basically VAB, and the opposite will be VBA. This you know how to draw it, so you can draw it on your own. So this is basically VBA. Now the first cycle studied, firing pulse will be given after an angle alpha. You all know these things. So there is a gap of alpha over here. We are producing a delay over here. If you want to keep the delay 0, then it would have started from this point on. But in the exam, waveform should be shown at a delay of this. Although the delay can be set to 0, because you are using a thyristor, you have to show some delay so that its delay meaning can be easily understood. Now, in the second half cycle, in the negative half cycle, VBA becomes positive. So B terminal becomes positive with respect to A. So now I'll rub off this polarity. I'll make this B plus, I'll make this A minus. So if A point is minus, so 1 will be off, 2 will be on. If B point is plus, which will be on, 3 will be on, and 4 will be off. So current starts flowing from this positive terminal. So B to SCR3 through the load goes in this direction, through 2 back to this negative part. So now current starts flowing from this B terminal through SCR3 load through SCR2 back to the minus. So always positive to negative current is flowing. So that direction is maintained. So current will always enter the load like this. IL, even if it is flowing from B to A or A to B, current through the load is always from top to bottom. So the current IL will be always positive and V0 will always be positive. Now, you can draw according to that also. I told you two things. One is by thinking like this and another is logical thinking. Well, the logical thinking states me that if you apply KVL, what will be V out? V out will be VBA, because now the supply is VBA. So in the second half cycle, what is VBA? Positive. So positive part drawn over here. If it was VAB, then we would have drawn it as negative, but it is not VAB, it is VBA. So we have drawn only the positive part. So again, after one complete cycle of your sine wave, the same process repeats. So T1, T4 again conducts. For T1, T4, we'll get again voltage VAB, positive. So VAB, you see it has become positive. We have got this one. So T1, T4 in the first positive half cycle of your supply sine wave. T2, T3 in the negative half cycle of your sine wave. Then again the process continues. Since it is a R load, my load current will have the same waveform as your voltage. Only the magnitude will be different. This will magnitude will be Vm. Sorry. One second. This magnitude will be Vm. As already discussed, this will be Vm. And this this magnitude will be Vm by R. Just a minute, huh? Okay. So this is how the operation is. Exception from the previous thing is that two thyristors conduct per half cycle. That is the exception. Now, what will be that advantage of conducting two thyristors? We'll just now see. Next, we'll see. So you have understood this one, the operation. Only thing difference from a diode rectifier is that you have a triggering pulse given after a delay of alpha. Since the waveform is same, this waveform was same as your midpoint converter R load, so the calculation will also be same. So that's why I have kept the same calculation. I'm not going through it. I'm just showing you the limit. So it starts from alpha, it ends at pi. Full wave converter means time period is pi. So 1 by pi alpha to pi. Integrate it, you will get the value. 1 by pi alpha to pi Vm square sine square omega t. Integrated, you will get the value. And average value will be V naught average by R. RMS value of current will be V naught RMS by R. These are the calculations. This proofs can come in your exam. I can give you like this. Calculate the RMS value of output voltage for a bridge converter with R load or for a midpoint converter with RL load. You have to draw this load voltage waveform, only this part, show the starting point and the ending point, and according to that derive this equation and put the limits also. So these derivations are important for your semester exams, and these equations will be needed for solving your problems. Next important thing that comes is your RLE load. Okay, RL load, you know, all these things I am not discussing because all these things are same. RL load we had discussed for midpoint also. You can apply over here only. Exception is that two thyristors will conduct at the same time. So we'll have a negative portion over here, negative portion over here. You can show it discontinuous. If it is discontinuous, it will end over here. If it is continuous, this waveform will continue up to this. So according to that, you can do the things. So I have not shown all the examples over here. You can do it on your own. Which is the exception over here is the RLE load. Because in RLE load, we can have two modes of operation. We have studied already in machines as well as some parts in your DC choppers where we had some braking region. Okay. and we had the motoring mode. So in one mode, in one quadrant of operation, we were seeing that the current was flowing from source to load. That means means power was flowing from source to load, and in the other mode, the power was flowing in the opposite direction. So one is called as a rectifying mode. Why it is called as a rectifying mode? Because we want this device, this circuit which is shown over here, to operate as a rectifier. So if it is operating as a rectifier, current will flow from AC to DC only. So it will, current direction will be from left to right. Now if current is flowing from, if power is flowing, sorry, power, if power is flowing from right to left, then it is converting what? DC to AC, because output power is DC, then input power is AC, so it is giving to the AC supply some power, so that is becoming inverting mode. So that comes into operation when the E comes, because RLE is nothing but a motor, and we know there are 4 quadrants of operation over there, as we had studied in Chopper. So you can go through that, and from that only we are coming into those things. 2 modes, one is rectifying mode, one is inverting mode. Now very easy thing, see, keeping into mind that power will flow from source to load. So what should be my average value of the power? Just have a common concept. What will be the power? V naught into I naught, right? So if my V naught into I naught is positive, then only my power flow will be in this direction. Then what will be my waveform shape? So obviously, if you look into this waveform, can I say the average value is positive? Yes, because there is a small negative portion. If the average value of here is 100, and average value of this small negative portion is -5, and we do the average value of the whole figure, we think we'll get 95 over this whole region, right? So positive voltage, current is positive, continuous positive current, so no problem, positive current, so 1 ampere suppose, so power will be 95 watt. So power flow is from source to load. So that's why if it is alpha less than 90 degree, it is called a rectifying mode of operation. The waveform will look like this. I'm not going into detail about the RLE load. You know, it will go in the negative direction. Since we are showing a continuous nature of current, we have taken the this whole portion as negative over here. Okay, then shown the whole portion positive. Okay, okay, I will just look into the, skip this slide and look into this first, because this is more important if I'm making a comparison. Now, if I'm looking at inverting mode, okay, so alpha greater than 90. If your alpha is greater than 90 degree, so your waveform will go towards negative. There will be a small, the waveform is starting from here. So the waveform will start from here, positive, then take a long time to discharge, because we have to take a large value of inductance. Then it will go in this direction, positive, then go negative, then go positive, go negative. So you are seeing, if you take the average value of this figure, most of the figure is negative over here. So average value will come out to be negative. It is below this line. So you see the average value which is shown over here, this line V naught is shown below below your x-axis. So this magnitude will be negative. So minus V naught, we are keeping saying the current is remaining continuous only. So minus V naught into plus I naught will give you what? Minus V naught I naught. That means the power is negative. So power is flowing from the load to the source. So that's why when your alpha is greater than 90 degree, in case of RLE load, we are getting a inverting mode of operation. And when we are keeping alpha less than 90 degree, we'll get a rectifying mode of operation. You can go through the books about the details. This in words only, they have written pages after pages. Okay, so you can go through this basic simple principle only they have written. So you can refer those things once again. So, now the most important part. what happens to the voltage across the thyristors. Now, previously in midpoint converter, we had seen how to determine the voltage across the thyristors. So that part of the figure only I have taken. So I have taken this part. I have taken this part of the figure, drawn it horizontally. It was drawn vertical over here. You can draw it horizontally, left out the load. You can draw the load over here. Doesn't matter, but we know that if I'm finding VT, then I will apply KVL in this loop only. So that's why the except the load, that part I have shown. So what is happening? Okay. Now we know that T1, T2, all configurations are same. This is same configuration. So T1, T2, T1, T4 conducts in the positive half cycle because which voltage will get VAB, and T2, T3, this two will give you voltage VBA. That means because of VBA, T2, T3 is on, and because of VAB, T1, T4 is on. So there is a voltage source over here which turns on T1, T4 is VAB, and there is a voltage source over here which is VBA. So if you apply KVL in this whole loop, start from VAB. So VAB going in this direction. So minus VT1 minus VT4, then coming back in this direction, plus VT3 plus V2A minus VBA is equal to 0. You can draw the exact diagram over here and do it. Okay, like the previous things. I'll just show once. We have drawn. So you can draw this like this way only. Okay, instead of using one thyristor, there will be two thyristors. Then apply KVL, then it would be, I think, good for you. Whichever you want to do, you can do it, but that's the way. So if you apply KVL, you will get this equation. From there you want, if you want to calculate VT1 plus VT4, bring it on the other side. Keep those VT3 and VT2 at the same time on the other side of the equal to sign. So you will get the equation. So what is VAB? VM sin omega t. And what is VBA? The opposite of VAB. So minus VM sin omega t. So minus minus gives plus. So minus minus gives plus. It gives this 2 VM sin omega t. Now, so VT1 plus VT4 becomes 2 VM sin omega t. So now these two are in series, and if we take the same rating SCRs, so the voltage will be equal, half. You think about two resistors and you have connected a 10 volt source. So how much voltage you will get across them? If there was an equal resistance, we will get 5 volt each. So VT1 is equal to VT4 is equal to VM sin omega t, and according to this, we will draw this figure. Now you see your reverse voltage appearing across this VT1 or VT2 is VM or minus VM because it is reverse. Now, if you look into this figure, what was our peak inverse voltage? That is minus 2 VM or 2 VM. Minus because of reversal, I need the magnitude 2 VM. So that is a very important difference over here. So if you are choosing a thyristor for a bridge converter, the reverse voltage breakdown voltage rating will be VM only. For example, I am taking a number. Suppose the VM is 230. Now, if I am taking a thyristor chosen for your midpoint converter, the peak inverse voltage of that thyristor will be 460 volt, 230 into 2. But in this case, it will be 230 only. Now, what is the advantage over here? The more the the reverse bias voltage rating will be, the costlier the equipment will be, because it will have a more voltage sustainability. Okay, it can sustain so much high voltage in the negative reverse bias region also. So that's why the cost of the setup will increase. And except that you are using a center tap transformer, that was also increasing the cost. You can use a direct AC supply over here and you can make this configuration. So very important, the cost of the setup becomes very less and the rating of this thyristors also reduces. So that's the very important differences over here. And you can do all these things. You know how to draw this VT. Whenever we are getting the voltages, V0 that will be 0 because of T1, T2. And whenever V0 is 0, whenever T1, T2 is off, we'll get a voltage VT1, VT2. So these things are drawn according to this waveforms are drawn. You just go through it. Now the calculations, again the same calculations, we'll look into the waveform. So the waveform is starting from alpha ending at pi plus alpha. So my integration limits has changed from alpha to pi plus alpha. Rest all terms remain same. So you have to put the limits and get your value. So 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. This gives you Vm squared by 2 pi into pi. This cancels out and gives you Vs. So average value of your output current I naught average is equal to V naught average by R. RMS value of your output current is V naught RMS by R. All things are same. All integration for your full wave converters are same except limits are changing. Because of the limits are changing, the final values are also changing. So you should understand the operation and derive all the conditions. Okay. So I have jotted down the advantages of your bridge configuration over your midpoint configuration. The first one which we had already discussed is the SCRs over there in midpoint converter were subjected to a peak inverse voltage of how much? 2 Vm. And in case of bridge converter, it is only Vm. So for the same voltage and current rating of SCR, power handled by the midpoint configuration is about half that of handled by your bridge configuration. It will be just opposite. Bridge configuration by midpoint configuration. And in midpoint configuration in secondary has to supply the secondary power. That's why what I was saying, that we have to use a transformer in order to supply those power over there. So transformer rating is double the load rating over here, because we have to take a 12 volt transformer, right? So our transformer voltage will be 24 volt. So and at the load voltage we are getting only either 12 volt. So transformer rating is double the load rating of the than in the midpoint converter. So those are the most two important differences which increases the cost of the setup of a bridge configuration. So everywhere you will see midpoint bridge configuration is used. Cost of the midpoint configuration is increased. So everywhere we prefer a bridge configuration. Now we'll look into some problems. Very logical problems using full converter. Using half converter, we had already done the problems. Using full converter, we'll do it. So basically what you're saying, we are having a full bridge converter. So we are taking a bridge converter, so 4 thyristors will be there. RLE load will be there. Voltage supply is 230 volt. Load current is given constant as 10 ampere. And R is given this one, L is given this one. And what we need to find out is a firing angle for given values of E. First, the E is 120 volt. Now, when single phase bridge converter is connected to RLE load, we can use this equation just now we have derived. We can use this V naught average or your V naught RMS equation. Now, this current which is given over here is the average current. So we can use the average current equation, average formula, V naught average. So if I draw the load just for example of yours, this is R, L, E. So if I calculate the V naught average, by the original formula, which is 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. So I can write this V naught average is 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. And this value is nothing but the drop across the each individual elements. So what is the drop across each individual element? Now average value. So inductor average value is 0. Voltage average is 0. You know that. We had already done in the first class. So inductor average voltage is 0. So what will be the drop across the resistor? R into I plus E. So can I write 2 Vm by pi cos alpha is equal to E plus I naught R? Yes, obviously we can write. So that's what we have written over here. Substitute a value E120, I naught given as 10, R given as 0.4. You will get 124. Then substitute a Vm. What is supply? 230 volt. Always values are RMS values. So Vm will be 230 root. Substitute it. Get your value over here. Okay. So you'll get your alpha as 53.21. Then input power factor, RLE load. You can remember the formula just for your knowledge. I'll just open the slide and show you. On the first lecture, I think we have done it. Single phase control rectifier. Okay, this was our close all tabs and 6. Okay, in this one RLE load. Where was our RLE load, right? RLE load. Input power factor formula is same except your average and RMS value changes according to it. So RLE load input power factor formula is this one, which we have applied it over here. I naught RMS square into R plus E into I naught plus Vs into I naught. So that is applied over here and got these values. So all these things are related. All these things are related. But again and again I am telling you, there are so many formulas. Please write it down as a notes in your copies. All these formulas, make some chapter wise formulas so that it will be good for you only. Okay. So these are the things for this problem. Okay. Next, what is there? Input power factor in both cases. So I have found out this C along with this A only directly. And what will be when minus 120? Same formula. We'll just substitute minus 120, calculate the corresponding alpha, calculate the input power factor. So you just go through it. Same thing we have done, except the E value is minus 1. So I'm not discussing in detail about this because you know these things. Now this problem, this is a slightly a bit what I'll say. Means, okay, let's discuss it. Means it is little bit different from the original ones. Means where we need to directly put in the formulas and do it. So we have to think about this in a different way and solve it. Different way means all the concepts have been taken. That concepts only we have to apply. So this is RLE load again. E is given, RL given, source voltage is given, firing angle delay is 50° given, continuous conduction, find the average value of load. So what we need to do is find the average value of load current for the first case. So you know what is the average value of this RLE load? 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. 2 into 230 root 2 supply is 230, 230 root 2 by pi. Cos of alpha, firing angle is 50° cos 2. Substitute it, get the value 133.084. You can calculate your I naught average. How you can calculate? Same formula. 2 Vm by cos pi. Sorry. 2 Vm by pi cos alpha is equal to E plus I naught R. So from here you can calculate 2 Vm by cos pi minus E by R gives you your I naught. So 2 Vm by cos phi, this is V naught average minus E by R gives you your I naught. That is written over here. Substitute it, you will get the value. First portion was direct. What about the second thing? In second thing, they have told that one of the 4 SCR has been damaged or open circuited due to fault. Find the new average current taking the output current to be continuous. Now what will happen to the waveform? Now if you look into the diagram over here, In the first half cycle, which two conducts SCR1 and SCR4. Second half cycle, which conducts SCR3 and SCR2. For this figure, okay, you can change the namings over here, and accordingly, this devices will change conducts. Now, if one device gets off, so if SCR3 suppose gets off, so if SCR3 gets off, will there be a availability of the second cycle? No. So this portion will vanish. How will the waveform look like? Okay, if you are having a continuous waveform, I think the waveform will look like this. Then it will go like this in the negative portion, then 0, then go like this. Okay, if you want to draw it, you can draw it 0 at the starting, which indicates your first stage. This is a continuous waveform. You can draw it like my waveform also. We'll just confirm what they have drawn it. So they have taken 0 over here. That's the firing angle delay of alpha, and then they have drawn this. Okay, because this portion is alpha, there is no need of this discharging part. So that's why this is 0 over here. So we'll have a positive part, then discharges, then becomes completely 0 after this. Because if there was a positive part over here, then there would have been a discharging part over here. So since there is no negative part, this part is 0, so there is no need to draw this negative part over here. So that's why it shouldn't be drawn. So what happens in the second half cycle, the thyristors that was conducting, one of them was short circuit, means one of them was faulty. So we have to remove that. So it will basically behave as a half wave rectifier. See, half wave rectifier, only half wave being rectified. So the waveform will be of a half wave rectifier, and you can directly apply the half wave rectifier formula if you remember it. If you don't remember it, you just apply the logic of your average value. So what will be the half wave rectifier time period is always 2 pi. So 1 by 2 pi. Where the waveform is starting alpha, where it is ending pi plus alpha. Why it is ending over here? Because it is a RLE load. Please take care of the load what is given. So alpha to pi plus alpha, Vm sin omega t. Do this integration, you will get Vm by pi cos alpha. Find the value, substitute the same equation over here, you will get the current. Okay. So now you see the average value is automatically decreasing because one portion is 0 over here. So if you do the average value of this entire cycle, the average value will be less than the original full wave rectifier waveform. So please take care of what conditions are given, and if conditions are changing, according to it, draw the waveform and derive the equations. Now, the last portion of today's topic is semi-converters, which is an extension of your bridge converter circuit. These semi-converters are your full control rectifier, means full wave rectifier, but having a different configuration. What is that? In the semi-converter, as compared to a full converter, which consists of 4 thyristors. So all the 4 thyristors were there. Over here only, there can be 2 thyristors and 2 diodes. The basic configuration is 2 thyristor, 2 diode. Or you can use 3 diode, 1 thyristor also. What does it mean? A simple logic over here, full converter, semi-converter. See the meaning. Full converter, semi-converter. That means full converter means fully controlled. If you look into the first figure, all the 4 switches were thyristors, right? So all the 4 switches has to be controlled. But instead of that, if I replace this switch over here, this SCR3 and SCR2 to be diodes, so only 2 switches will be controlled, other 2 switches will be uncontrolled because they are diodes. So those are becoming semi-controlled or half controlled. So sometimes it is also called as half controlled converters. But both are functioning in the same way only, because we are using 4 thyristors or 2 thyristor, 2 diodes, it is acting as a full wave rectifier. We'll also see the advantage over there. And what is the quadrant of operation of a semi-converter? It always occurs in the first quadrant, because your always voltage is positive, current is positive. Why I am saying the second point? Because just now we had seen in RLE load, we can have two quadrant operation. One is rectifying mode, where my power is positive, and where my power is negative, we can have the another quadrant operation, which is nothing but this is your rectifying mode, inverting mode, alpha greater than 90, where your voltage is negative and current is positive. So you have basically the fourth quadrant operation, voltage negative, positive. So remember, full control converters are first and fourth quadrant operators, means they operate in those quadrants, whereas semi converters being a first quadrant operation only, because its voltage is always positive, current is always positive. Always in case of RLE load, don't say that sir there is R load also. I am comparing RLE load or RL load. Okay, so in terms of RL load, I am saying this configuration of operation, because most of the industrial loads are inductive load, RL load. So we have to think about RL load and draw this quadrant of operation. Now this is what a semi-converter looks like. We have two thyristors, we have two diodes. Now why it is asymmetrical? I'll just make a comparison with the next figure and tell you. If I keep a mirror over here vertically, thyristor corresponds to thyristor, diode corresponds to diode. So it is symmetrical in nature. This part looks same as the second leg. The first leg looks as same as the second leg. Whereas the thyristor corresponds to diode D2, T2 corresponds to D1. So it is asymmetrical in nature. If I keep a mirror in between, so thyristor doesn't correspond to a thyristor on the right hand side. It is a diode. So that's why we are calling it as asymmetrical. Now, the major function of operation is because of the quadrant of operation. Now we can take a R load, because in R load we know operation will be in first quadrant. What is the disadvantage of having RL load? I told you previously also we had seen that there is a negative portion in the output voltage. And because of the negative portion, our rectification efficiency was decreasing. So output was becoming more of AC. If you go on increasing keep on adding large value of inductance, it will take so much time to discharge that it will cover the negative portion. So that's why my output voltage could have full positive cycle, full negative cycle. That would have made the rectification efficiency less. From output to AC to DC, we will not be able to convert. So we have to eliminate that negative portion. So for that, one logic we had used previously was use a freewheeling diode. So what we could do is, for the RLE load or RL load, we could have connected a. So what we could do was, in order to eliminate this negative portion, what we could do, as we have learned a method, we could have used a freewheeling diode over here. So that would have eliminated this negative portion. Now adding a diode will add to the cost of the setup also. Maybe since this is a high power device, so this will be a power diode used over here. So it will be of higher rating, and so it will add to the cost of the setup. So instead of that, what we'll do is use a semi-converter. Now how it operates, how it removes that negative portion, we have to look into that. So this is the basic configuration of your asymmetrical converter, which is nothing but a semi-converter or half control converter. Please don't confuse with half wave and half control. Half wave means half wave rectification. Half control means only half part, means out of the 4 thyristors, there are 2 thyristors. So that's why we are calling it as half control. Now, operation of your asymmetrical converter. How it operates. So during the first half cycle, this is a voltage. So this is VAB. This dotted line is your VAB. And this dotted line is your VBA. You know all this operation. We are just going it through very quickly. So what will be first half cycle? A positive, B negative. So if A positive, B negative, which will be on? T1, D1. Just like the opposite. This two will be on. Always diagonal thyristors or diodes will be on. Next half cycle, which will be on T2 D2. So T1 D1 on, the RL load charges, the inductive load charges, current flows from Vs positive A, T1, RL, D1, B back to Vs. So if you apply KVL, V0 is equal to VAB. So VAB is this dotted line. So that's why it is shown VA over here, first case, which is on T1 D1. During this case, which is on T1 D1. Now next it will discharge. Now how it will discharge? Now as soon as it discharges, inductive load current direction remains same, right? Polarity across it changes, so this becomes minus plus. Okay, so plus connected to this diode, minus connected to this, minus this D1 D2 will turn on, because these are diode, directly it will turn on. So with D1 D2 conducting, this two will act as your freewheeling diode and will allow the inductor to discharge through. So you don't need any extra diode to means you don't need to add any freewheeling diode to discharge it. Means you don't need to add any extra diode to make the load discharge. Already the diodes which are present in the circuit, that is D1 and D2, are helping the inductive load to discharge. So that's why my load becomes short circuited across this diode. So V0 is equal to VD2 plus VD1. If these are ideal, then VD2 plus VD1 will be 0. So during this portion, it will be 0. If these diodes were not there, we could have a negative portion. So we are eliminating the drawback over here. Next half cycle, what will happen? Which will be on? A is B is positive now, A is negative. So D2 will be on, T2 will be on. So current starts flowing from this B positive, D2, RL, T2 to A negative. So if you apply KVL, V0 will be equal to VBA. What is VBA? This dotted line. So this waveform follows this. Which two thyristors are on? T2, D2. Now again, when it will discharge, this will be minus, this will be plus. So plus connected to this. I'll change these figures to make it correct. I have taken this figure only as my reference. So that's why polarity is shown like this only. But what will happen is, this will become plus, this will become minus. So plus connected to diode D1, minus connected to D2. Again, it will discharge through this. So again, it will be short circuited and voltage will be 0. So again, 0. So charging through thyristor and diode, discharging through diodes. So that is the basic principle over here, and we are eliminating our negative part. So we are having a better rectification efficiency over here. So T1 D1, D1 D2, T2 D2, D1 D2. So obviously before that there will be D1 D2. See T2 D2, D1 D2, it will be again T1 D1. So before T1 D1, what is that? D1 D2. So before T1 D1, what we should write is D1 D2. So that's why D1 D2 is written on. You can do all these things. That is, I'm keeping it up to you.
স্যার আগের ফিগারটাতেও তো মানে ওপরের ফিগারটারই অংশটা নিচে এঁকেছিলেন, তাই ওই V0 এর অ্যাক্রসে যে পোলারিটিটা দিয়েছিলেন ওটাই আবার নিচে দিয়েছিলেন।
হ্যাঁ, ওটা ওইটা করা আছে, এটা এখান থেকে নেওয়া হয়েছে বলে ওই সেমই আছে। আমি এটাকে ঠিক করে পাঠিয়ে দেবো, ওপরটা মাইনাস হবে, নিচেরটা প্লাস, ঠিক আছে? So using a semi converter, we could remove the drawbacks of having a RL load in a full converter. So if it is a RL load, it is good to use a semi converter instead of full converter. Now the second configuration which we can use is symmetrical converter. This I told you why it is symmetrical, and we'll just look into the waveform. Now it is a small little bit different over here. What is the difference over here? The discharging part. Charging part is same, because positive A positive, B negative, A positive, B negative over here. So T1 D2 D1 on, so charging will be T1 D1 only. In the next also, which will be on B positive, A negative, so discharging will be through T2D2. So T2D2, next half cycle charging will be through T2D2. So charging part is okay. This cycle which we are getting over here, you can easily understand all this are same. Only discharging part differs. So we should look into that discharging part. Now what is happening over here? Again, I have taken this waveform, so this is plus and minus over here. So it should be corrected as this becomes minus, this should be plus. Now, if I draw the figure over here, just for, okay, I'll take this figure over here. I'll take this figure. So first half cycle, which is on T1, D1, because of which plus, minus. Right. Now, in the next half cycle, what it is happening? This polarity has changed to plus, this has changed to minus. Inductor polarity has also changed, minus, plus. We are giving a triggering pulse of something after a delay of alpha to T2. So even though my load source voltage has changed its polarity, my T2 is not on because I have not given a gate pulse. So I can keep it off. So I can remove this part. Now since this is connected to plus, D1 will be automatically off. So it is a diode. Directly you connect a plus, it will be off. Now this is minus over here. Okay, now this is plus over here. Now since these two devices are off, see, please understand it nicely. Since T2 and D1 is off, can I say like this, the source polarity will not have any effect on the circuit? Because if these two are off, B point is open, this point will have no effect, because if this is minus, there has to be a positive terminal connected to a circuit. Then only this plus and minus will have an effect. These two devices are off. This point is open, B point is open, so there will be no effect of this A point. So I can basically remove your Vs. So which is acting as my source? RL. So this RL now discharges through which? This minus, this is plus. Plus connected to plus D2, minus connected to minus of T1. So this RL will discharge through T1 D2. So that's why we have written over here T1 D2 is the discharging path. So T1 D2 over here. Charging T1 D1, discharging T1 D2. If you have any doubt, you can tell me regarding this. Now, in the next half cycle, minus, plus. It was operating in minus plus region. Then after that, what it becomes? It becomes plus. Sorry. In the second half cycle operation has started now. Inductor has discharged. Again, it will start charging. So it will start charging through this point, T2 and D2 plus minus. So T2 D2 starts conducting and inductor is charged. So after discharging, after the complete cycle, it has to discharge. My load polarity has changed. This has become minus. So I'll remove this and make it minus. Make this plus. Now, even though this terminal has become plus and connected to the positive terminal over here, up to alpha, I have not given a gate pulse to T1. So this is off. Plus connected to D2, this makes it off. So there is no sense of this B because A is completely floating. It is not disconnected. So my polarity, which is minus plus over here during discharge, minus connected to T2, plus connected to D1, will allow this inductor to discharge through T2 D1. So that's why you see over here discharge is through T2 D1. T2 D1. Discharge is through T1 D2 in the first half cycle. So that is the primary difference over here. Discharges are through thyristor and diodes in symmetrical. This should be symmetrical again. Okay. And in case of previous asymmetrical converter, we were saying discharge was through the diodes. So what is the basic advantage? We were eliminating our negative part. So rectification efficiency was improved, and we were no need to have any additional freewheeling diode. So that was making the cost of the setup to be less also. So the waveform average value, you can calculate it. See both waveforms. One second, just okay. Asymmetrical. Take any waveform, both are same. So you see the waveform over here. You see the waveform over here for asymmetrical, and take a symmetrical one. Sorry, symmetrical. Where is symmetrical? Oh, this is symmetrical only. I have to change the name. Sorry, this is asymmetrical one. Okay, and this is symmetrical converter. So symmetrical converter waveform is also same. So waveform is same, only discharging path is different. So if waveforms are same, both will have the same formulas. So only one formula I have derived over here. Since full wave converter, what should be my time period? Pi. What should be my starting point is alpha, ending at pi. So alpha to pi, you do the integration and get your value.
আচ্ছা, একটা প্রশ্ন ছিল এই সিমেট্রিক্যাল থেকে। বলছি ওই যে যখন আপনি প্রথমটা করলেন না T1 D1, তারপর আবার T1 দিয়েই আবার D2 দিয়ে ডিসচার্জ করাচ্ছিলেন, তখন ওই T2 টায় কেন ক্রস দিয়ে দিয়েছিলেন?
হ্যাঁ, দেখো
মানে
ফার্স্টে কি হচ্ছিল, ফার্স্ট দিস ইজ পজিটিভ, দিস নেগেটিভ। সো T1 is on, D1 is on, these two are off. Next, when it is discharging, discharge will happen in the next cycle, এই সাইকেলটা। তাহলে তখন কি হচ্ছে, পোলারিটিটা এইখানে পোলারিটিটা চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেছে অলরেডি, কারণ সেকেন্ড হাফ সাইকেলে চলে গেছে। সো দিস ইজ বিকামিং মাইনাস, দিস ইজ বিকামিং প্লাস, ঠিক আছে। এবার মাইনাস কানেক্টেড টু দিস D2, দিস উইল বি অন। তাহলে এই ক্রসটা আমি সরিয়ে দিই, এই ক্রসটা আমি সরিয়ে দিলাম, এই ক্রস, তাহলে এটা অন হয়ে গেল, ঠিক আছে। এবার তুমি অন্যভাবে ভাবতে পারো, আমি আসছি আরেকটা জিনিসও বলছি। মাইনাস দিস কানেক্টেড টু দিস ওয়ান, মাইনাস কানেক্টেড this one, this should be off, okay, but what we will see over here, you will see over here plus connected to this point. So if plus is connected to this point, this T2 has not been given any gate pulse, তাহলে এটা অটোমেটিক অফই থাকছে। গেট পালস যতক্ষণ দিচ্ছি না, তাহলে এটা অফই থাকছে, ঠিক আছে। এবার এটা যদি অফ থাকে, আর এই প্লাসটা এই মাইনাসের সঙ্গে লাগানো আছে, ঠিক আছে, এই মাইনাসের সঙ্গে লাগানো আছে, তাহলে এটা অটোমেটিক্যালি অফ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, ঠিক আছে, এটা অফ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। এইবার তাহলে বি পয়েন্টের কোনো দেয়ার ইজ নো মিনিং অফ দিস এ বি পয়েন্ট। এইটা যদি ওপেন হয়ে যায়, এই লেগটা, এই লেগটা যদি ওপেন হয়ে যায়, তাহলে শুধু এ পয়েন্ট নিয়ে আমার তো কিছু করতে পারবো না, এ থেকে বি আসতে হবে, বি পয়েন্টের কোনো মিনিং এ নেই। তখন আমাকে কি করতে হবে, লোডের পোলারিটি দেখতে হবে। লোড আগে চার্জ হচ্ছিল এই দিক দিয়ে প্লাস মাইনাস, এখন এটা মাইনাস প্লাস হয়ে গেছে, ঠিক আছে। এখন তুমি বলতে পারো স্যার এই পোলারিটি দিয়ে দেখলেন আপনি, কিন্তু ওই পোলারিটিটা তো পরে আর কনসিডার হচ্ছেই না, কারণ এ বি তো নেই। একদম ঠিক কথা, তুমি এই জিনিস করে ভাবো, এই দুটো আমি এইভাবে এক্সপ্লেন করতে পারি, এইভাবে এক্সপ্লেন করি। লোডের পোলারিটি দেখো, প্লাসটা প্লাসের সঙ্গে কানেক্টেড D2 এর সাথে, কারেক্ট, তাহলে D2 অন হবে। প্লাসটা D1 এর সাথে কানেক্টেড, তাহলে D1 অন হবে। দাঁড়া এক সেকেন্ড, হ্যাঁ এখানটা এটা থাকে, আমি এই পোলারিটিটা এটা বুঝছি, আমি লোড পোলারিটি দিয়ে বলছি, আর এটা জাস্ট এখানে এটা মাইনাস।
তাহলে প্রথমে এক কাজ করতে পারি, এবি তে পোলার মানে ডিসচার্জের সময় এবি তে কোনো পোলারিটি না বসিয়ে আমি আরএল এর পোলারিটিটা V0 এর পোলারিটিকে রিভার্স করেই করতে পারি।
একদম একদম ওইটাই বলছি, যে এবার তুমি V0 পোলারিটি দেখে করো, এইটা ভুলে যাও, এবি পোলারিটি ভুলে যাও। So this plus is connected to D1 plus connected to D2, তাহলে D1 ও অন হতে পারে, D2 অন হতে পারে, কিন্তু T2 তে গেট পালস দিইনি, তাহলে T2 তে যদি গেট পালস দিইনি, তাহলে এই পাথটাও ওপেন থাকবে, তাহলে এই যে এই আরএল লোডটা এই পাথ দিয়ে ডিসচার্জ করতে পারবে না, তাহলে D1 এর কোনো মিনিং নেই এখানে, ঠিক আছে।
ও মানে T2 তে মানে ইচ্ছা করেই পালস দিইনি কোনো।
হ্যাঁ, তো আলফা ডিগ্রি পর আমি পালস দিচ্ছি না, এতটা ডিলে দিচ্ছি।
ও মানে তখন যখন ওই ওখানে যে গ্যাপটা থাকছে, তাহলে ওই পাথটা মানে কোনো ফাংশনালি হচ্ছে না। তো
এই দেখো T2 এই পয়েন্ট থেকে শুরু হয়েছে, T2 এই পয়েন্ট থেকে শুরু হয়েছে, দিয়ে এই পয়েন্ট অব্দি গেছে, তারপর আবার ডিসচার্জের কাছে। তাহলে এইটা অলরেডি অন অবস্থাতেই ছিল, তাহলে এই পোলারিটির জন্য এটা অন থাকবে কিছুক্ষণের জন্য, এবার ওর জন্য এর মধ্যে দিয়ে ডিসচার্জ করে যাবে T1 D2।
ঠিক আছে।
So some of the points of difference are written over here. I have already told you all these things. So semi-converter can apply 2 thyristors or 2 and 3 diodes. If it is 2 thyristor, then there will be 2 diodes. If there is 1 thyristor, there will be 3 diodes. So 1 thyristor should be there because you are saying half control. Okay, controlling portion should be there. 4 diodes if you use, then it becomes completely uncontrolled. There should be 1 thyristor present in the circuit, minimum 1 thyristor to make a semi-converter, and rest can be diodes. And another thing is that it can't be 3 thyristors. Very important. If you take another thyristor over here, wait one second. Thyristor. Thyristor. I don't think so. There should be 3 thyristors. I think there should be 2 thyristors always, or minimum 1 thyristor, that I know, and always 3 or 2 diodes. I'll just check once if there can be 3 thyristors. I don't think there can be 3 thyristors. And a single phase full converter needs the 4 thyristors. So semi-converter circuits are cheaper because why? Because over here you are using diodes. If you use thyristor, you need control logics when it should be on. So those controllers should be there. Gate pulse should be given, so it adds to the setup, cost of the setup. So semi-converter circuit becomes more cheaper. Semi-converter operates in one quadrant. Just now we had seen voltage positive, current positive. So power will also be positive. So one quadrant operation, that is first quadrant. Whereas full converter has 2 quadrant operation, that is first and fourth quadrant. And if you calculate the power factor also, it will be more, because one of the most important advantage of using freewheeling diode was input power factor to be improving. So input power factor will also improve in this case. These are the output performance parameters. Already these things we had discussed in case of your half wave rectifier. So I am not discussing again all this in detail. So these are the output performance parameter, which is average voltage, RMS voltage. You can calculate rectification efficiency, PDC by PSC. Voltage ripple factor formula is this one. FF form factor. This I have shown in terms of problem in case of half wave rectifier. Same thing will be in case of full wave rectifier also. Only formula of average and RMS will change. So accordingly, this TUF, FF, VRF, all this will change. Now, why this one important thing? Why this current ripple factor is 0? Because see over here, we have considered the output current to be constant. So there is no ripple in the current. So that's why CRF is 0 over here. And these are the input performance parameters. You can go through this. If you want to understand the derivation, then you have to go for Fourier analysis, which is not very important, but you can once go through it. It is given in any book. It's a huge derivation. Ultimately, what we need is these formulas, which will come in problems. Competitive exams, they will give problems in terms of this equation. So these are all the important formulas for input and output performance parameters. So we have completed the discussion of your single phase, half wave and full wave control rectifier with all the loads.